How's it going, everybody? In today's video, we're going to be starting a new series called The Battle Plan. And in the Battle Plan, we're going to be breaking down the zones node by node in Battle World, talking about replacement teams, how to organize Spec Ops as simply as possible, because there's a lot of confusion right now. We're going to alleviate all that and make it really easy, or hopefully really easy for everybody that watches this video. So make sure you do watch this video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. But let's jump right into it to save your time. And we're going to start talking about Zone 4, Node number 1. So node number 1 is asking you to use your bio or as guardian characters. There's a bonus to the undying characters, but I don't want to focus on that too much because I don't think it's really necessary. The bigger bonus, which is kind of the overarching theme of Battle World, is going to be the additional rules from other modes. So in node 1, war rules are activated here. The enemies we're facing are going to be Gamma and Invader characters. Luckily for us, there's no Red Hulk to start this node off. There is a Brawn though, so that's going to be our speed up. So when I think about that, I want to make sure that whatever team I'm going in there with is going to be able to survive a Gamma character team, especially with Leader on there. It's a lot of damage, who's going to have speed up on spawn, right? So Zombie Juggernaut just stops the speed up on spawn. So that's just going to make things so much simple. So I want as many alliance mates to have that simplicity as possible. So that's where I'm now going to start breaking things down into a main team and to Spec Ops team and possibly Spec Ops teams 2, depending how things go. There will be mostly Spec Ops 1 and 2 for each node, okay? So my main team, this is what 19 players are going to do. They're just going to simply use the Undying team plus one character. I don't care who that character is. From these 19 people, it doesn't have to be the same people that are going to add these to Spec Ops. It could be if you want to keep it simple. But from these 19, I need them to add Super Skrull, Odin, Void Knight, Red Goblin, Gore, and Gwenom to the Spec Ops, okay? Because this is going to make room for my Spec Ops team. 5 players. These guys are going to use either the 3-piece Nowhere, which is Nova, Korg, and Cosmo, or 3-piece Hive Mind, which is Carnage, Red Goblin, Void Knight. And I'm going to have them add in Skrull and Odin. If you're in a more early game alliance and nobody has Odin yet, like my mid game alliance, I'm going to also add Gore to this list. So they're going to be able to use Gore instead of Odin here, right? He takes charges off. He's really good against Gamma. Yada, 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 okay? These 5 players, to their Spec Ops, they're putting in the entire Undying team. This goes counter to what I had actually said in the previous video where I was saying no one player should have to add more than one of the bonus characters to any given Spec Ops. I was not made aware of the room rules when I made that video. I didn't know that they were going to add in this node, all war tags are open. Now that all war tags are open, a team like Nowhere can come in here with the speed bar and the battlefield effect, all kinds of stuff, and absolutely walk over it. And that's going to be true for a lot of the nodes. This particular suggestion actually doesn't rely too much on the war characters, as we do have Skrull and Odin here to step in and fill that void, which is great. Fill the void, get a void. Okay, anyway. So when I'm assigning these things, this is where I want to kind of give you a little tutorial on the spreadsheet that Life made for us. And there's going to be improvements to that spreadsheet, which we could talk about at the end of this video, kind of to hype you guys up, because I think it's actually really exciting what he's working on. But let's head on over to the spreadsheet right now, and I'll show you how, as a captain, I assign this, and how you probably want to inform your alliance captain they should assign this. So if you're using the spreadsheet, which I really hope you are, because it makes it so much easier, we're going to come down to the Alliance tab, and I'm going to put in what I think is a desired Spec Ops team, right? So 3 Hive Mind characters with Odin and Super Skrull. When I put this in, it's going to put out to me, sorry, I was about to swear, it's going to put out to me the highest powered players in my alliance that have these 5 given characters. So rankings, we got Axio, Falco, Beta Beat Ceci, that's yours truly, Duder, and Stocky. So I know that these 5 characters would probably be able to handle that node easier than the rest of the people in the alliance. So then I head on over to Zone 4, and I just make those assignments. So you see Scarlet Witch Zombie, I'm getting rid of it, Stocky, Kingman, Falco, Yomi. We're all getting rid of Scarlet Witch Zombie. We're also getting rid of Juggernaut. We're also getting rid of Iron Man Zombie. There's no Hela to get rid of, which I thought was interesting. But you see what I'm saying here, right? So I'm now assigning a team that I know will handle the node, and then asking 5 people, you're going to have a little bit of a harder time on this node, guys. But you have the biggest alternate team. That's sort of the philosophy we're doing here. And that's the philosophy you're going to be taking for a lot of the missions. Zone 4 is a little bit of an anomaly, but for the most part, that's what we're going to be doing, okay? All right, so let's head back on over to the spreadsheet, and that's going to basically be it for this. I will put up these infographics up in the Patreon. It's $1 a month if you want to support the channel, but if you want to take just a screenshot of this and black out my face and share that with your alliance, please feel free to do that. Or if you're in the Patreon, you just want to share it with everybody, do that too. Because once you're in the Patreon, you can do whatever you want with these pictures. All right, let's head on over to node number 2. Then node number 2 is going to be your Horseman or MSF Original or Apocalypse character. There's bonuses to the MSF Original characters. It's nothing crazy. It just gives the MSF Original characters the Horseman tag. That means like Rogue will give them damage, Morgan will give them life and resistance, Red Hulk will give them speed bar when he does his special if they're adjacent. It's pretty actually tamed down compared to the type of synergies we see around these days. There's also going to be bonuses to war rules. Now you might have noticed in the last node, we had Bio, we had War, and I did not bring up Gamma at all. I didn't suggest we use Gamma whatsoever. That's because we really want to use our Red Hulk here, okay? Red Hulk with Apocalypse is going to make it really easy for the vast majority of our alliances. The type of enemies we're going to be facing here are going to be uncanny and unlimited characters. So you can kind of see it here. It doesn't look too difficult. We don't see any Nightcrawlers here. There's no Sunspots, no Forges, so we don't really have to worry about revives. We're mostly looking at anti-control effects from Dazzlers. That's going to be annoying. Taunts from Colossus will be annoying. And then Phoenix, percentile damage. That's going to kind of be annoying. And I guess there's 2 rogues here we'll have to worry about at some point, okay? Our main team, 14 players. We're going to break it up into 2 different Spec Ops units here. 14 of our players, they're going to use Apocalypse, Red Hulk, Vol, Weaver, and then they can choose between Deathpool or Archangel. If they have Big Archangel, I do suggest him because he can give energy if he gets kills. I need, from these 14 players, at least 5 of them to donate Morgan and Rogue. The next Spec Ops team, this is going to be 5 players. We're going to use Apocalypse, Morgan, Vol, Weaver, and then they can choose between Rogue or Deathpool. And from those 5 players, I need these guys to donate Red Hulk and Archangel, especially Red Hulk here, because Red Hulk is going to be key for the Spec Ops 1 and 2 teams. Or sorry, the main team and the Spec Ops 2 teams. Speaking of that Spec Ops team number 2, those guys, they're just going to use the entire Apocalypse Horseman team. I really do like what the MSF original characters bring. I think Vol and Weaver will make the nodes much easier than, say, Rogue and Archangel will. But just to simplify things, I'm going to have my 5 best Horseman Apocalypse owners use them. The node does not look any sort of difficult for a Apocalypse Horseman team, and this is going to allow me to have those players add all the MSF originals. So if I go back to the spreadsheet for just 1 second, you'll see I did the same thing, and I took on that responsibility again for the people that got rid of Undying. I also got them to get rid of all the MSF originals. So you see here, Beta Beat Sassy, Stocky, Kingsman, Falco, Yomi. We got rid of Spider Weaver, got rid of Deathpool, got rid of Vol. You might notice there's 1 MSF original missing, Kestrel, and I'm not including her here at all. That will change when the entire Astral team comes out. They don't ask you to donate Kestrel to Spec Ops, but Kestrel would easily plug in here. She'd probably be higher value than Rogue, Deathpool, or Archangel, but until such time as we can expect players to have Astral, I don't want to include that in the conversation. Just know, if you're the kind of player that's going to be getting your Astral team faster, then you can go ahead and grab that there, okay? All right, let's head on over to node number 3, the Herald node. This one is pretty interesting. On its face, it seems like it could be difficult, but there's so much important units missing from this Herald team that it's going to be very simple. And the bonus rule is extreme. Get it? It's extreme. Okay, so you need to use X-Men characters on this node. There is a bonus to the extreme X-Men characters. Raid rules are active here, and there's also a bonus to Cabal. So the bonus to Cabal is that Ares and Emma are going to have the Cabal tag. This means that Leader's going to spawn them in with a bunch of buffs, including Safeguard. It means lots of extra healing. It means assist from Iron Patriot. What you don't have here, a big thing, is you don't have Namor. So it's not like if Iron Patriot crits, all of a sudden everyone's going to have speed up. Namor is who gives that, right? There's no Crucible rule active here, so it's not like they're going to get extra damage. There's no War rule active here, so it's not like Ares is stealing all your buffs. It's very tamed down. So for our main team, these guys are just going to blow over the node. We got Nightcrawler, Old Man Logan, and Gambit. +2. I don't care who the +2 are. Those 3 characters are going to walk absolutely over this. Why? The bonus to the Extreme X-Men is that the Extreme X-Men get 97% increased speed. Let that sink in. That's insane. Not only that, I believe they get damage, health, focus. They get everything. It's super overpowered. This is actually going to be way easier than it looks, right? This main team, from these 14 people, I need at least 5 of them to add to Spec Ops, Forge, Cyclops, Sunspot, and then they probably just go up to the higher tiers and they fill those in. We'll talk about that in a little bit. My Spec Ops team number 1, 5 players. I need these guys to use Old Man Logan, Cyclops, Forge, Gambit, and Sunspot. The reason I broke this one up into 2 different Spec Ops teams, it may not be necessary because of how strong the bonus rules are. I just didn't want any one player to have to Spec Ops both Old Man Logan and Nightcrawler, because I feel like those 2 characters become the soul of a team. Even though Old Man Logan's not going to get those bonus rules, just what he does speed bar wise and damage wise and control wise, I feel like I didn't want any one player to not have both of those characters, okay? So this Spec Ops team number 1, I need them to add to Spec Ops. They have to add Nightcrawler and X-23. Spec Ops team 1 on paper would be the more difficult team, because when you have Nightcrawler, Emma's useless. Nightcrawler has speed up on spawn. There's raid rules, so he's getting even more speed bar. He's giving speed bar out there. Any team Nightcrawler's on is probably going to walk over this very quickly, right? But because Cyclops, Forge, Gambit, and Sunspot are also, they got a lot of raid buffs, and they get 97% increased speed, they're going to activate Old Man Logan, and Old Man Logan is going to pop off with lots of assists, get lots of speed bar, and I don't think the Herald units ever get a turn if you use these 3 teams. All right, the second Spec Ops team, these 5 players, they're going to use Nightcrawler, Rogue, Sunspot, Forge, and Cyclops. We did allocate 10 Rogues to the last missions, and 5 to the Spec Ops, okay? So we're already down 15 Rogues. That still allows us to use 9 more Rogues. We're going to use 5 here. And then, you know, from the Spec Ops Team 1 or from the main team, that you can add an extra Rogue there if you feel like it, okay? But for this team, I need them to add to Spec Ops. 100%, they have to have Old Man Logan, and then I'll make them put in Wolverine and Sunfire as well, okay? And that's just gonna make sure that we're covering all the mutant bases. And then from there, we'll talk about, you know, where should the rest of the Spec Ops stuff come from. But before we do that, let's jump on over to node number 4. And I'll get rid of the Discord chat for this one. Node number 4. Astral or Pegasus is what you need to use here. There's bonus to Astral. There's war bonuses active. This doesn't affect Astral, because everything that Astral gets for war, they already start with in Battle World, right? Pegasus doesn't really get anything from war. They don't get anything, I should say. The enemies are Supernatural, Weapon X, and Old Man Logan. All those characters do benefit from war. You want to be replacing the Pegasus members every single time you get a new Astral member. Every single time you build up an Astral member to even close to comparable build level, you want to replace it. I do think there's an order to this, though. I think Doctor Strange is the first one you sub in over Ironheart. Ironheart doesn't do anything for the team without the raid rules. She just doesn't. Like, there's no speed bar. The stun is like, it can get dodged. It's just not a great character, right? Doctor Strange comes in, unavoidable special, which does so much damage now, and a revive. So when he's on the field, if rescue gets gibbed right away, Doctor Strange is going to get energy because it's part of his passive, and he'll revive her right away. And then you're kind of back on par, right? Moondragon replaces Iron Man Infinity War. Iron Man Infinity War's big draw is that he gives speed up. Well, rescue can do that. And he also has a really strong AoE attack. While Moondragon has a much stronger AoE attack on her ultimate, okay? Ancient One replaces Darkhawk. Darkhawk becomes an energy battery for the team. You see there's a Morbius right there in the middle. He comes in as a super tank. He doesn't do much damage. You and your Pegasus team could kind of basic him to death while you build up your cooldowns. While with the Ancient One, she'll also be giving cooldowns to Doctor Strange and Moondragon, so it's sort of the same effect. But the added benefit is Ancient One has extra counterattacks, and she also does insane AoE damage to the entire enemy team on her special, and a huge chain on her ultimate, which would help control like crazy. So Ancient One, as soon as you get her, you definitely want to take out Darkhawk. Emma Frost replaces Rescue just because at that point, hey, we have more Astral than we have Pegasus, so why not? And eventually when Shadow King comes out, he'll be replacing Kestrel. We can start using Kestrel in the MSF original node if we so choose. Okay. That leaves us to the unmentioned Spec Ops. Obviously, we didn't cover all the Spec Ops characters here. what I did is I recommended teams, and from those teams, the units that were not being used, I had those players put the Spec Ops in. This just kind of helps you cross everything off without risk somebody else who might need an X-23, say, to lose it because the other people, they just wasted it, right? So it's just to try and make it a little bit more simple. So after assigning players to Spec Ops Teams 1 and 2, simply fill in the rest of the Spec Ops missions based on player capabilities. So let's take an example of that, right? So for my Spec Ops Team 1 here on node number 1, I have people adding the entire Undying team to Spec Ops, right? And so who do I have doing that? I have Beta B, Ceci, Stocky, Kingsman, and Falco, and Yomi doing that. After that, I also had those guys do a different team. That's kind of extra. But after that, I was like, okay, well, what can these guys do that's kind of out of the way? It doesn't really affect anything, but maybe only they can do it, right? And then I came up here to Captain Britain, 5 yellow stars. Well, very few people were able to do that. Well, actually, not very few people. Normally, very few people would be able to do that, right? But I knew these guys could, so I went ahead and I slapped them in here as well. And as you'll see, like, I don't want to overcomplicate Spec Ops. I think that was a common mistake because we didn't know the room rules were going to be as powerful as they are. Like adding War or adding Raid or adding Crucible to these stages is kind of absurd if you ask me. But it is what it is. It does make Spec Ops easier at least, right? So I kind of chose like groups of people to cover everything. And then at the end, I just sort of filled in whoever was missing because these characters, they don't matter whatsoever. So I thought this made things a lot more simple. All right, but I do want to talk about something exciting coming to the spreadsheet here that might actually automate it for you and make it even easier. LivePool is going to be working on a tool that is going to do the stages I just told you I did based on rules that we're going to implement in the spreadsheet. So we're going to implement a rule that says like this character, so whichever 5 players from this roster sheet have these characters the highest, it's going to auto-assign not those characters to their Spec Ops, but the opposite characters. So in the situation, once again, let me go back to the Undying one, where Beta beats Sassy, Stocky, whatever, we all have the strongest Hive Mind Skrull Odin team. Well, it's going to auto-assign us to Spec Ops, our Undying characters. And so we're hoping to automate this so it's as simple as possible for everybody. And we're looking forward to rolling that out to you guys. We just got to come up with the rules we're going to assign to the sheet first. And when we get that done, we'll definitely do another video and we'll share that with you guys. So I hope this video finds you well. I hope that your Battle World journey, it's really boring right now because it's normal difficulty, which by the way, everything in this video is not for right now because you can just YOLO Spec Ops as long as everyone can meet the requirements. And one character can beat every single node, right? This is more for when we get to next week, difficulty 3 for some players. Then difficulty 4 is when it's going to kind of ramp up a little bit more. And difficulty 5 is when we're really going to see, is Battle World any sort of challenge? Or if, say, we use the recommended teams we have here, do we still just walk over it? I kind of think we're still just going to walk over it, which is why I feel pretty confident making these videos now, the series now. But we'll include gameplay when the time comes. All right? Hope this video finds you well. Make sure you give a big shout out to Livepool. He's putting so much work into this spreadsheet to make it as easy as possible on everybody. And yeah, stay happy, stay healthy, have fun. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everybody. And we'll talk soon. Bye for now. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun. And I'll see you in the next one.